The 70s to me represents polyester, disco.
People were just free about everything. And now everybody's just so uptight.
Now you can't even smoke a cigarette in a bar.
You have sex several times a day. You go to the supermarket, you meet someone, you go walk, and it was like no worries about anything.
I had turned the corner, Christopher Street smiled at somebody. He said, "You got a minute?" And we went upstairs.
You could feel the sexual energy everywhere you turn.
Anything that was in pornography, you could have in abundance. It was like life was a pornographic film.
Most of it was free, baby. Free love, free sex. Get it, hustle not, keep going.
I would go for a 24-hour vacation there. Drop a little acid, take a little stroll around.
All of those forbidden sex acts were free for the taking. And that was very liberating because it removed shame. It replaced shame, in fact, with great joy and self-discovery of your body and other people's body and loving each other and, I mean, all the good stuff about free love.
Dr. Gallo. Yeah. Telephone.
Gallo here.
Bob, Max Essex.
Max, how are you? Are you working on that new gay disease yet?
No, I'll tell you the truth, Max. It really doesn't interest me.
Well, Don Francis used to be my student. He's with the CDC now. And he's found enough evidence to suggest that it might be caused by some retrovirus, possibly in the same family as yours. Now, I'm going to explore this with him, and I think it's something you ought to look into.
Well, why don't you send me what you have, and I'll put somebody on it.
Excellent.
Thanks for the call, Max. Bye.
What did it say?
We got it?
Exactly. This is San Francisco, where bathhouse is not just a word, it is a symbol for sexual freedom. All those who are in favor of keeping the bathhouses open, raise your hands.
Excuse me, I would like to remind everyone, I'd like to remind everyone that these are not regulations. These are not regulations from the CDC. This is a workshop where every agency connected to the blood industry can evaluate information that the CDC has found. And together, we are hoping to be able to arrive at some course of action. Is to establish guidelines to keep people who are at high risk from donating blood to begin with.
Banning homosexuals from giving blood won't protect the blood supply. What it will do is stigmatize them. Reminds me of blood banks rejecting donations from blacks for fear of syphilis.
Have you any idea of the civil rights implications of establishing such guidelines?
My ass. My son's a hemophiliac, and if homosexuals are infecting the blood supply, why not keep them from becoming donors?
What do you mean the entire gay community? Then what? Separate drinking fountains? One for gays, one for humans?
Don't start that gay rights crap with me. There are 20,000 hemophiliacs in this country, and GRID has become the second leading cause of death amongst them. We have rights, too, and one of them is the right to stay alive.
I know that we're dealing with a very complex and a highly emotional issue, but it would help a lot.
I wonder how you can expect us to be unemotional when at least one person is dying every day from a disease that doesn't even have a name. Now, if the CDC can't bother to come up with a name, at least it should stop the media from calling it GRID. We have enough people hating gays without having the entire stigma of this disease placed on us, especially since it has been shown that this disease is no longer merely gay-related. Now, I make a motion to officially call this disease Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome, or AIDS.
From the first day that AIDS was identified in 1981, HHS scientists and their medical allies have never stopped searching for the answer to the mystery of AIDS. And not only have we found the cause to AIDS,
Didn't she have her
within
teeth done?
6 months, a blood test will be available. And the man who discovered the virus, which causes AIDS, excuse me, is our eminent Dr. Robert Gallo.
Thank you, Secretary Egler.
Because it's been surrounded from day one with so much emotion, very few people are capable of looking at AIDS logically.
There is a group of AIDS denialists that say that HIV does not exist and has never been isolated, which is as bizarre as it gets.
The probable cause of AIDS has been found.
Credit must go to our eminent Dr. Robert Gallo, who produced this discovery.
Gallo said he had all these viruses, and it was a lie.
These are HIV here?
Yeah.
Oh, so are these HIV too?
Yeah.
Everything's
Probably. Yeah.
The presently available data does not prove the existence of HIV.
I mean, it exists.
Why do you believe that HIV does cause AIDS?
Because that's all the information that I've been given.
Because that's what the scientific community has told us.
AIDS is not a disease. AIDS is a whole lot of different things.
Some countries, they'll make up their own definition.
The more diseases they could lump into this AIDS syndrome, the more patients they could catch.
Peter is highly intelligent, but he's killing people with his theories.
I'm about to go in for my first HIV test, and I'm a little nervous.
Tell me about your sex life.
I'm not gay, I'm not a hemophiliac, and I've never used intravenous drugs.
Now, if I tell you that the test you took was lousy and didn't mean a thing, does that make any difference for everybody to hear?
Did the answers to these questions help aid in the diagnosis?
Of course they did.
Really?
But HIV testing isn't an absolutely precise science.
AIDS is one thing in Greenwich Village and a very different thing in Kampala, Uganda.
The vast majority of the world's population is not at any measurable risk of HIV infection.
I think HIV totally has turned out not to be the cause of AIDS. HIV has turned out not to be.
We can be exposed to HIV many times without being chronically infected. Our immune system could get rid of the virus within a few weeks if you have a good immune system.
You and your colleagues not only state that HIV does not cause AIDS, but you take an even greater leap and say HIV does not exist. Is that correct?
Oh, it is partly correct. We do not say that HIV doesn't exist. It may exist, but the presently available data does not prove its existence.
But how can you say that when world-renowned scientists like Dr. Gallo and Dr. Fauci say HIV does exist? Are you telling me and the world that they're all wrong?
No, what we're saying is there is the evidence there, the data in the scientific literature, which is published. Scientists interpret data differently, and we interpret the evidence one way, and they interpret it in a different way. So in our view, the evidence does not prove the existence of HIV.
Some people are very fortunate that they don't have these side effects. So what